the status of the unborn child is the justice issue of our era. Unfortunately, the Crimes Act in New Zealand, Section 159, Killing Unborn Child, states that the unborn child does not become a human being until it is born. This is a dangerous legal fiction. New Zealand has inflicted on it a genocide which is claimed since 1977 the precious lives of more than 500,000 innocent and defenceless unborn children. This genocide will not be stopped until our Parliament passes legislation that recognises the humanity of the unborn child endowed with an inalienable right to life. It was Justice Miller in the High Court in Wellington in the case Right to Life versus the Abortion Supervisory Committee that Justice Miller in his decision, in his judgment, stated that Section 159 was a legal fiction, that it was not based on science but on convenience. He went on to say that our abortion laws rested on the belief that the unborn child was not a human being until it was born. Today, the most dangerous place for a New Zealander is in its mother's womb. It is estimated that every day 36 unborn children are poisoned, sucked from their mother's womb, or violently dismembered. In 1977, the Royal Commission on Contraception, Sterilisation and Abortion stated in its report to Parliament that they had received advice from scientists from all around the world who stated that human life began at conception. The Commission went on to say that there was no point in the 9 months of pregnancy when the unborn child was not a human being. The Commission said that the unborn child was the weakest and most defenceless member of the human family and deserved respect and protection. In 2019, the Honourable Andrew Little, as Minister of Justice, presented the abortion legislation bill for its first reading in Parliament. This was on the 8th of August 2019. He said, quote, "We will hear extravagant language in the public debate about this referring to killing and murder. I reject those notions. I accept on legal and moral grounds the established jurisprudence in New Zealand that human rights do not accrue until human life is possible, and this, the widely accepted human rights that we all understand apply, being exercised, which is to say, I accept the born alive principle which guides our courts today." In 1983, the National Executive of the Society for the Protection of the Unborn Child commissioned a retired senior law draftsman, Nigel Jamieson, to draft a bill that would recognise the human rights of the unborn child endowed with a right to life. This private member's bill was presented by the Honourable Douglas Kidd to Parliament. He had received more than 10,000 letters from the public in support of his bill. As a result of intense lobbying by the pro-abortion MPs in Parliament, the bill was sadly defeated at its first reading by 48 to 30. The annual conference of the Society for the Protection of the Unborn Child in 1984 resolved to continue campaigning for the reintroduction of the Status of Unborn Children Bill. It is disappointing that this campaign has now ceased. Right to Life has always recognised that it's imperative to continue this campaign. Right to Life was encouraged by the example of William Wilberforce, who worked for 20 years to gain recognition of the humanity of slaves and to abolish slavery. Right to Life has always recognised that it is imperative to continue this campaign. Right to Life is encouraged by the example of William Wilberforce, who spent 20 years in the British Parliament to attain recognition of the humanity of slaves and to abolish slavery. Right to Life encourages the pro-life movement to support this campaign for legal recognition of the unborn child. We believe that until we get recognition in law of the humanity of the unborn child endowed with human rights, that we will never ever succeed in protecting our precious children in the womb.